Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, Chief Content Producer and Writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. The reason why it's a special episode is because episode 100. That's right, this podcast is 100 episodes old. I want to thank every single one of you that are watching this video right now and have watched or listened to podcasts in the past. And to every single one of my guests, you've all been freaking amazing. So thank you so much for the guests for taking time out of their schedules to talk with me. And thank you so much for you, the audience, for listening to me. All right, for a very special 100th episode, I decided to bring a very big guest. He is a Spotify verified artist, and he is currently, as of this recording, his music has been listened to 1.1 million times on Spotify. He has over 7,000 Twitter followers. He has over 18,000 Instagram followers and 28,000 Facebook followers. His music has also been promoted by the kings of A&R, When the Horn Blows, and especially a little network called MTV. So please help me welcome our 100th episode guest, Dylan Dunlap.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to talk with me today. I really appreciate it, Dylan.
Yeah, I don't often get intros. That's not really a normal thing on a day-to-day conversation. So that was really sweet of you. Thank you for doing that.
You're so welcome. I do it for every single guest that comes on this podcast, is I do an introduction.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm happy to talk through anything you might want to talk through.
Awesome. So let's get started with your origin story. So when did you get interested in music? And how did that passion evolve into the desire to pursue a career in the recording industry?
I love origin story. That sounds like a superhero film. I mean, I just knew as soon as I touched a keyboard. I was 6 years old, and it was just everything. I've struggled a lot with social skills my entire life, and it was really nice to find an object that you could just mess around with and create emotion, create words without saying anything. And that's really what I've devoted my entire life to doing, is letting the music speak for itself as much as I can.
Awesome. I think that's pretty cool. So let's talk about songwriting while we're at it. So can you describe your songwriting process to my audience?
Yeah. I'm a little unorthodox. I guess I start always with the music and the chord progressions. Always. I have a very extensive film score background. I originally thought that's what I was going to do, was pursue scoring films for the rest of my life, to follow in my dad's footsteps. But I really pivoted when I was about 17 or 18 years old and realized that I've been through so much in my childhood and so many things that I think could help others if I were to open up about. So I basically have taken advantage of music to be able to start these conversations. But to answer your question, it always starts with just the music, a good chord progression, a good right hand motif, and you just sit with it for a bit and see how you feel and what you want to add on top of that, really.
I totally understand it. Every songwriter is different. I have a lot of musicians that come on that, and they're very interested to hear about their songwriting styles.
Yeah. I just think it's not to force something, and there's really no rush. Sometimes a song can take years to form the words to describe what it is that you're trying to talk about. And that's my favorite thing I've learned. I'm from LA, born and raised, and I think that Los Angeles has this machine-like mentality. You jump into the session and you crank the whole thing out, and then I think that works most of the time. But personally, with just how much it means to me to get it right with what I want to say and my voice, yeah, I just want to take the necessary time to make sure that I'm proud of the work that I'm creating.
Awesome. So have you thought, I always ask my guests who are musicians, because there's a lot of people that have got their starts on shows like American Idol and America's Got Talent, The Voice, and Songland. Have you thought about competing on the shows because you'd be really good at it, or why not?
I appreciate that. I have a song called "If That" has been getting some really exciting numbers online, and I do remember Songland reached out about a year ago and said like the song you just put out would be perfect, but I don't know. I think that it had something to do with remove it's unreleased, or so you can pitch it to the judges. And I just believed in what I had done with that song and having already put it out, and to see it about to surpass 22 million plays is a really validating thing to happen. And I think that it works for a lot of people doing these shows. And for me, I've paved my own path. And I think that's what we all really need to do with our lives, is figure out what makes us us, and how sometimes that works for being on American Idol for somebody and staying away from those shows for somebody else, you know?
I agree, to each their own. And like, for example, you and Songland would be really good for you if they have a season 3, because I've talked with both Anna Graceman and Father Dude, like 2 completely unique stories. Anna's original song was combined with another original song from BB Rexa, while Father Dude had one of the best songs presented of that night on the Usher episode. Usher didn't even take it, and fans on social media were pissed. So it could happen. It's like a coin toss, but I think you should definitely, if Songland calls again, please, I would definitely suggest that you probably take it.
Yeah, it's always good to have an open mind in this industry, right?
Absolutely. And speaking of this industry, the recording industry is definitely one of the most challenging industries to break through. Same with the entertainment industry, so on and so forth. So what have been some of the challenges that you've faced throughout your career, and how have you overcome those obstacles?
I would say the biggest one is just I'm on the spectrum, so growing up was really tough to connect with other kids, and choosing a profession that the entire thing revolves around people and pitching yourself, elevator pitches and emails and all of these social skills that I had to teach myself. That's the hardest thing. I understand the industry itself is a nightmare, but I do feel like we have to accept that going into it. Just my girlfriend's an incredibly talented actress and voiceover actress, and it's the same thing. Like, you're choosing to do this. The odds are probably always going to be against you, but there's something about it that just makes you want to keep going. So for me, the only real issues I have along the way is comfortability. I started street performing when I was 17 or 18, and that helped me be able to just like play for myself. Don't worry about anybody else. The guy at Starbucks that's like waving at you to stop playing because he's on a conference call. Like, I think it's important to play for yourself. And if there are 3 people or 65,000, I've experienced both. And it's the same. It's not doing it to please others, doing it because it is genuinely therapeutic. And it's just been what's helped me like unravel in a good way and be able to like understand the different layers that makes me who I am. I can now talk to people and look them in the eyes better as an adult. And I correspond via email just as much as my manager does, because I feel like I'm at a place now where people like talking to me. And it's great, because that's probably the thing I used to be so insecure about in the beginning.
I'm very proud of you for saying that and overcoming that so much. And the spectrum you're talking about is the autism spectrum, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've known firsthand about that and it's definitely challenging. So I'm good for going on you for doing all this. And
thanks, man. I mean, it's tough. I found out as an adult, and I think that is just something that is talked about enough in general. I think that we think of autism, we think of children, and we don't really think about the children growing up and living with this disorder. And I'm just so happy to find a way to talk about it through such an easy listening platform as pop music. And that was the hardest part, is like, I don't want to sacrifice the music by being too much of an advocate. I'm in a great position now where I can put the guitar down, speak in front of a high school class, and talk about the things that matter most to me. And also also tour and play the music and not talk about this stuff and let the music speak the way that I would speak with my words without an instrument at a school. It's a great balance, and it's taken a lot of years to figure that balance out.
Awesome, and I'm glad that you were able to find that. You're definitely going to inspire more people who are musicians that are in the spectrum. So I think you're just one that just opening up the door for everybody.
I'm honored. It's the hardest thing in the world, but I love it so much. I love music more than I'll ever be insecure about doing it.
All righty, so we got to talk. Speaking of music, we got to talk about your music.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start with it, if that's all right. I watched a music video, and I thought the monologue at the beginning of the video was one of the most vulnerable things I've ever seen in the music video. So why did you decide to put that in there?
Thank you for taking the time to watch, man. I saw how much it was picking up in Europe, and to see 70,000 people a day streaming this on Spotify, you're not looking at anything, you're just listening, right? I wanted to create something that could visually represent what the song means to me, and I wanted to just hope that if you were to go on YouTube, and because there's a market for that, a lot of people just want to go on YouTube to listen to music, and I wanted people to just accidentally stumble across that monologue, because that is exactly what formed that song, that thought process, and how that's the work in progress, and how I've just turned 25 the other day, and I still practice what I talk about in that song that I wrote in 2019.
First of all, happy belated birthday, and welcome to the 25 and over crowd.
It's okay. It's only a little bit of a quarter life crisis.
Believe me, there's 30. I'm 32, and it could be anything between a 30 and the 30s. It could happen if you're 30, 40, or 50. It doesn't have to be quarter life.
I'm happy to be here, and it's very validating to see how much I've been able to do in my time of pursuing this. So onward and upward, right?
Absolutely, my friend. Next song I want to talk about is Who Would Have Tonight?
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Who would have had thought? I'm like, I'm sorry, I thought I was like, who would have thought? Who would have tonight have?
Who
tonight?
would have tonight?
Yeah, that's a really good song. Maybe that could be if you can ask the Kenny Rogers or say for something to ask to riff about that song.
I love that. Who would have tonight? Ooh,
yes.
I love how cryptic that is. I'm going to stop this interview right now and go write that song for you.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. All right, that's it, everybody.
All right. No, who would have thought was really not intended to be a release. I met my girlfriend, Marissa, in September of 2019, and like a week in, just went to this upright piano in my apartment and wrote the fastest song ever, called Who Would Have Thought. And it just talks about, like, having just met her, how I just want to sit in this diner in Studio City with her. It's called Vivi's, and I just wanted to sit with her all day. And we ended up doing that. We spent the whole rest of the morning and early afternoon sitting there, just putting everything on the table, and we just really understood one another. And 2 weeks later, I had a huge show to release the first EP I've ever put out, and I had my band members leave the stage, and I performed that song alone for Marissa in the crowd. She had no idea what was going to happen or that it existed, and I guess like the feedback from my team as well as my friends and fans, like, it just made sense. Like, oh, this should come out. Let's produce this out. And so we ended up setting a release date. And funny enough, it was day one of Los Angeles's lockdown, March 13th, March 12th or 13th, 2020. And so all the odds were against that song from like doing well. And I just think that sometimes it works in your favor. No budget, nothing. Like people just want to hear good music, and it will be discovered. And I'm just really thankful that, I think that's like 4.5 million people have now listened to this love song directly just for her. And that's so cool to think about.
That's incredible. 4 million people as of this recording is unbelievable.
Oh no, I think you cut out.
Sorry guys. Yeah, I'm here. Sorry guys. Dylan's in a technical difficulty area, so he may come in and out. So I apologize in advance, but the podcast must go on. So what I meant to say was 4 million people is an incredible number for someone that doesn't have like a major label backing them.
No, and it's even cooler. Immediately after that song came out, I signed my first record deal, Network, and we've just been having a blast ever since. It's really cool to have a bigger team. I'm used to be really on the street, accepting tips, playing Ed Sheeran songs. So it's cool to have like such a massive team, and to have all these people like believe in my vision. I'm really grateful.
I definitely think you are on the rise, my friend. You are on the rise, and I think you may have and just like Billie Eilish has for her generation, you might have a bigger voice for your generation.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, so let's get back to the interview. So what we had took 6 years. That's a great example of what I was talking to you about earlier. I mean, I idolized my father, and I think that that's the first thing I want to talk about is like that. I don't think that we're supposed to idolize people. I think that expectation really does breed disappointment. And in my case, I thought of my dad as a god, and he was the most talented musician I've ever met. He was everything I wanted to be, but I had no idea what was actually happening that he was, keeping from his family, the addiction, the substance abuse, the alcohol abuse, like all of this, and the way that he used music to just ignore the rest of his life. And he took off when I was 17, and I spent a lot of years just trying to process it. I never wanted to force a song out, but I was in Nashville in 2019, and I saw this writer's round of a guy on stage that like wrote this song for the son he doesn't have yet, about all of the "you're welcomes" and "I'm sorries" the apologies that he wants to give this kid he doesn't have yet. And I was just crying my eyes out and realized it's time. It's now time to sit down and write about this. And it happened really quickly. And the most important thing to me about that song is that it's not a sob story. I think the thing about those reality shows that we were talking about earlier is they really do cling on to the narrative that we need like this underdog, everybody's rooting against the person sob story. And you could see my life as that in a certain way, but I have always refused to maintain that perspective, because the way I see it, I am a strong individual adult because of everything I've been through, and I would never take anything back. And that's what the song really is. It shares this story, this coming out story of these experiences I've had with my dad, but it ties it together by saying like, there's a lyric that says, "I don't ever want to change a single thing that made me stand on my own 2 feet." And I just love, again, to have such a specific story song to be, I think that just got like 1 million plays or something. And it's like, it's crazy that people actually want to hear that in a world where we're taught to like make the cookie cutter pop records that will sell millions. It's just fantastic to find out that there are people out there that want to hear more than that. And that's incredible. That is all incredible. And you definitely have a powerful experience to incorporate that into song. So that is great. We got to get to 2 other songs, because even though the holidays are a month behind us, or like we left them back in December 2020. You did Another Holiday and Merry Little Christmas. So MTV actually tweeted your music. So what did that mean for something like MTV to retweet about your music?
It didn't feel real. This, like, when I get these shout outs from brands and looks that I like looked up to as a kid, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever really process what that means. Like how my younger self would just be screaming if he saw MTV sharing, like, you know, Dylan just put out this new song. But I'm so thankful. It's cool to see people get the vision instead of just me. Like that the label, the brands have just I signed a deal with UTA as well, the booking agency. So like it's just cool to see, like, when the pandemic calms down, goes away, live shows are back. I feel like I'll really be able to just immediately get out there and play these songs, especially Another Holiday, for the people that hopefully need to hear them.
And first of all, guys, UTA stands for United Talent Agency. It's one of the biggest talent agencies in the entertainment industry. So that abbreviation is not to be laughed at. So I'm proud of you for getting that. And hopefully when I get the vaccine and 2 rounds of it, I'll make sure to come to one of your shows if you're in New York or you're in Kansas City.
And you both. Hopefully I'll get it all so I can play that show for you.
All righty. So we got to talk about your newest song. It's Follow My Echo.
Yeah, I March 2020. That's all we could talk about was this lockdown, and oh my God, we don't know what the future holds. And it was very scary. Not that today isn't scary, because it's just as terrifying, but there was something about March and April, I'm sure you can agree, that was like, wow, this is crazy. This is kind of cool that we all get a couple weeks off, because we only thought it was going to be a couple weeks. So I locked myself in my girlfriend's closet because it has incredible acoustics, and I just recorded the entire EP. And Follow My Echo was the first song I wrote in the pandemic. I wanted to just steer clear from end of the world topics. I think that's all I was hearing about. And I just thought, you know, what a great way to move the narrative about showcasing who I am. And the best way to tell you about who I am is that I love movies so much, probably more than most people. I have this thing where I can guess, like, when Oscar-winning movies came out between 2001 and now. And the idea of going to the cinema has always been my therapy, my favorite place to be. And so when the pandemic started, I thought, why not write about one of my favorite movies? And that's Finding Nemo. And I just thought it's such a brilliant film. You could go back and watch that again and again and learn more about, like, the father-son dynamic. Like, you need to make your own mistakes out there in the world, in the real world. And that's what he's trying to preach to his son. But his son keeps, like, this stubbornness that puts him in such danger. And so the Follow My Echo is from the perspective of Marlon, the father. It's what I would probably tell my future son someday as well.
Awesome. And besides, Finding Nemo was an incredible film, and hopefully that the Pixar would actually, hopefully Disney and Pixar would be happy with that. I hope Eleni would be happy with that as well.
Yeah, I know that there's rumors about a third one, Finding Marlon, and if that ever becomes a real film, I will make it my one life mission. I don't even care if it means quitting music, becoming a Pixar intern, just to, like, become an animator, get up the ranks, and then last second pitch Follow My Echo to be the end credits song. I think it's perfect. I really do. And it was really fun to just write that song. It really carefree, just a fun, chill pop record. And I think it really does showcase the sound of 2021 for me. I'm obsessed with felt piano. I think that, like, having that as the glue of that song really gives you a preview of what I'm up to moving forward.
Awesome. So last December, you teamed up with Banners for an impeccable collaboration, Someone to You. How did that collaboration come about?
Yeah, it seems like Banner's his label is friends on good terms with mine, and the opportunity came up through an email to just duet his song. I mean, it's like everyone knows that song, and that's crazy. Like just how much global success that song has had, and he is so proficient, and one of just his musicianship is fantastic. And so it was a huge honor to just be able to like, but what I think they call it popcorn do, just like taking turns and then harmonizing with each other. And yeah, it's great. I know that I'll probably meet him someday when all the restrictions die down. I think that
I totally agree. We all hope that that day will come when the restrictions are lie down. We can go back to life normal, including concerts. And speaking of and maybe you can see some future collaborations. And speaking of collaborations, who are your dream collaborators, singers, songwriters, and producers? And how would they enhance your sound, Dylan?
Chris Martin, Coldplay. I mean, the way he plays the piano, if you watch concert footage or live videos or anything, it's the same exact way that I think I play the piano. It's like a mindset, constant movement, zero like stiffness in the hands, and he adds a lot of nuances to like these simplistic pop chord progressions that make them sound like you haven't heard them before, even if those chords have been used before in music. He's just has the most brilliant mind, and I owe it all to that 4-piece band, you know, Coldplay, for why I even wanted to pursue this professionally. I think it's like to maintain that family mindset, to stay out of the tabloids because it's all just pointless, and to focus on making a difference, and figure out how to do that, and raising awareness about the things that pre the fact that like we just need one another. Like I could literally talk to you for a separate hour on why I think, and Coldplay is probably one of the last just rock bands that we've ever had. And yeah, I mean, I have a little goal to open up for them, and I think that that's possible. I was able to open up for One Republic a couple years ago, and so I know that, you know, I really put the work into it. I can make things happen.
Also, this is the first time I hear about One Republic. I've seen One Republic in concerts. Really good with the script and American authors. Really good band. Really good sets. I think it'd be great. I would love to see you duet with Chris. I could see you guys do Princess of China. I could definitely see you guys do The Scientist and, of course, Viva La Vida.
The Scientist was the first song I ever heard by them.
It's still. Have you listened to Willie Nelson's cover? It's still one of the most goose-bumping, interesting covers.
Yeah, it was in a Chipotle commercial, right?
I think so. Willie Nelson's version of it.
Yeah, I mean, side note, I love Chipotle so much that it's unhealthy. But like I discovered that, I don't know if it was a Super Bowl commercial or something, but the Chipotle commercial had Willie Nelson's cover, and I just, again, those 4 chords, like 6, 4, 1, 5, the whole time, yet it creates this soundscape, this environment that is like no other. I love that. And I think that have you seen the movie A Star Is Born, the new one?
Oh yes, I have. We're wonderful, and I'm so happy when Lady Gaga got her Oscar for that.
Yeah, I think that there's something.
Still one of the best songs I have heard in a movie musical.
Oh, totally agreed on that. It's just a masterpiece of filmmaking, and the score and the songs. And there's something that is said in that film about like when you're looking at the piano, it's like it's just 12 notes. So I think Bradley Cooper says it to Lady Gaga at one point. He says like, what do you have to say? What makes you you? Because like this music these notes have been used as long as we can remember, but like what will make you stand out? What do you have to say? Which was obviously very hypocritical of him to say that in that film because of his addictions and how that movie plays out. But I that really stuck with me. And that encourages me to continue writing, because I'll know that if I don't know, play an A flat major 7, that's probably been played before thousands upon thousands of times, but how can I do it that just helps amplify my voice?
Awesome. So we got to start winding down this interview. So let's talk social media. So what are some of your favorite social media platforms? Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter?
Facebook's been really great recently because I have no issue talking about how passionate I am about the, raising awareness about Black Lives Matter and everything that we've experienced last year. And so I've been able to find out that I have a lot of racist people that followed me on Facebook. And I just, regard words I put in a caption or just a photo of me protesting with my girlfriend that has no caption, it doesn't matter. It would bring these strangers onto Facebook and feel like they have the right to say like some of the most horrible things I've ever read about me, about the movement, about what was happening last year. So I'm really grateful that I'm able to weed out these people because I believe in creating a safe space. I believe in creating a safe environment where if you want to listen to my music, I want you to feel seen and heard and feel like it's okay to be who you are, regardless of your color, of your gender, of your age, whatever it is. I just really believe in unity. And so unfortunately, Facebook has taught me a lot about like, whoa, okay, I need to be vocal about these things because they matter. And that's okay to lose fans and you'll gain respect from the others. And but I would say my favorite platform would have to be Instagram because it's the one I guess I grew up on, and it's cool to see that grow over the years.
Awesome. So we have a lot of music people or aspiring singer-songwriters that listen to this podcast. If you had a chance to meet them or to exchange an Instagram message with them or DMs about advancing their careers in the recording industry, what advice would you share with them?
Ooh, okay. I could say so much. I think that we all want to be younger than we are, and that we all want to be the genius that's writing, recording, producing, mixing, mastering, everything ourselves, because we live in a society that pushes the narrative that it's attractive to do it all yourself. But to me, the truth is that collaboration is the most attractive thing. I think that being willing to share your successes as well as failures with the people closest to you is what makes all of this worthwhile. And that's been a huge learning lesson for me. I also think it's really important not to chase becoming the next insert pop star here. Like I want to be the next, because I feel like you're already more than enough as you are, and you're exactly where you need to be. And I'm telling myself that every day. So if I'm going to sit here and give advice on a platform, I always want it to be known that I'm giving myself that too, and that we are all a work in progress, and there's not something that I've mastered and I'm fully done and completed and overcome it and giving that wisdom. I'm learning just alongside whoever's listening to this.
Awesome. Now, where can my audience connect with you on social media, and also where can they find your music?
You can search I Am Dylan Dunlap. Oh, the camera's backwards. So my tell them about you can search I Am Dylan Dunlap on any platform you want, and search Dylan Dunlap on anywhere that you stream music. The beauty of today is that it's so accessible. So I've made sure that the music is available everywhere. And I also have a really cool thing to announce that I haven't really said anywhere, is that like every 6 weeks, I'm going to release a song. And
whoa, thank you so much for sharing this.
Yeah, I've worked so hard in 2020. I've probably worked too hard, and I don't know how to relax, but these songs are so important to me, and I can't wait to get them out there. It's going to be a very busy and a very productive year.
Awesome. Dylan, I cannot wait for you to share your music with us. So guys, if you missed any of the episodes of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, head over to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Spreaker. Just type in Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOB, Elyachar. Once again, Jacob Elyachar. Also, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. All Jacob Elyachar. Jacob Elyachar. And in addition to this being the 100th episode, this is a big year because this is jakes-take.com's 10th anniversary being on the web. So if you want to see more the articles from all over for all 10 years, in my interviews with so many people, I've had musicians on, including, get this, Dylan, AJ Mitchell, Rents, Cyndi Lauper, Dolly Parton herself, the late Kenny Rogers, Gordon Lightfoot, a couple members of Pentatonics, including Kevin and Mitch. So to read all of those interviews, head to jakes-take.com. Dylan, thank you so much for being a part of this special 100th episode.
I'm so honored. I didn't know that. That's fantastic. Congratulations to you, man.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're listening to this, thank you so much for listening. And until next time, have a great one. And thank you, everybody, for the supports.